Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Saints Network podcast, a weekly dose of all things Southampton Football Club, as well as other things that happen around now the Championship as per this season. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash all those magical YouTube buttons for us. It really helps us out. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you can hit that bell notification icon if you want to make sure you don't miss any future streams, like a bonus show that we are doing tomorrow at this time at 8 p.m. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. on the 1st of September. What is tomorrow?
Transfer deadline day.
Deadline day. We're going to do a deadline day show.
Should we get yellow ties?
No, that was a Sky Sports thing, wasn't it?
That's Jim White, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so, yeah.
Speaking Scottish
I
accents.
thought about it for a second.
Should we start every sentence with, my sources tell me, and we are led to understand, and
No.
our sources? Just,
Yeah. I invite Simon Jordan on.
Nah.
So tomorrow at 8 p.m. we have a bonus show for you wonderful human beings, a transfer deadline day show. Now, obviously, we're going to predominantly focus on the transfer happenings for the club, for Southampton Football Club. We'll probably look at some of the wider things that happen tomorrow as well, the Championship. I say this now, he writes the show notes, so I'm just giving Ash extra work. The other thing I want to talk about is, it is the 31st of August, which means it is the end of our members competition.
It is.
And we have selected a winner at random before the show. And I've already forgotten who it was. Who was it?
It was Cameron.
Cameron.
Yes. Cameron, if he's watching. Yeah, if he's not, then he'll find out soon.
Yeah, there was actually more people in the giveaway than I thought there was going to be.
There was going to be a lot more people in the giveaway than we thought it was going to
So
be.
thank you so much for your wonderful support. You're amazing. But well done. Congratulations, Cameron. If you get in touch via Discord, we will arrange a one of the shirts, home, away, or third shirt for you, whichever one you choose. We'll arrange to get that sent out to you wherever you are. You're a legend. Thank you so much for your amazing support. Bit awkward that we're announcing you as a winner. You're not in the show.
Yeah,
but,
on the notes.
When you catch up,
yeah.
Congratulations, you've won the giveaway. I will be thinking about another giveaway at some point soon. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but we're trying to use it as a way of growing the channel and growing the audience and that kind of stuff. So thank you to all you people that took part. Thank you for being members. Please don't quit now. There will be more giveaways. So keep holding membership. It's worth it, right? There'll be more giveaways.
And we appreciate the support.
We do appreciate the support, absolutely. Talking of which, if you do want to support the show, which we currently run at a loss, you can become a member of the channel. You can also gift membership if you're already a member of the channel. And during the show, you can do a thing that YouTube, if you're watching live, calls a super chat. You pay, basically, to put a big colourful box on the screen. And we will talk about your point at the end of the show. Every single super chat that gets put in the channel's chat will get read out. Normally it's one or two, but it will get read out and it will be discussed. So if you have a point that you want to make, and let's face it, it's been a pretty drama-filled few days.
Meltdown.
A couple of times.
Pure meltdown.
It's been a couple of drama-filled days if you're a Saints fan. So if you've got something to say, feel free to stick it in the chat. If we see it in the chat, we might grab it anyway. But if you super chat it, we'll definitely grab it. And thank you to all those people that are helping support the podcast. Because we started to do this just because it's fun. And it is fun, but it's costing me money. Yesterday in the Championship was match week 4 for the Saints, and they travelled away to Vicarage Road to take on Watford.
Yes.
Watford. And this was a game that, if I'm going to be honest, off the bat, I felt semi-confident about. And I thought, there's a strong possibility we could get a result at Watford. Taking nothing away from Watford, solid Championship side, right? Absolutely solid Championship side. But I did feel like we could get a result. Obviously, in the week, we played away at Norwich. And we beat them 3-0. And not only did we beat them 3-0, but a striker scored, which I was flabbergasted at. As did...
And someone took a shot from outside the box.
Mental. Absolutely mental.
I know.
We got goals from a striker and 2 midfielders. Well, would you call Wee Man a midfielder nowadays?
Just the epitome of versatility.
I think he basically plays every role but goalkeeper, doesn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So we had a goal from a striker and 2 midfielders, and I was like, oh, hang on, maybe it's starting to click. Maybe some of the things that Will is trying to introduce and some of the mantras that he's trying to change is actually starting to happen. And we came away with a 3-0 result, only to be luckily drawn yet again against Liverpool, because the cup draw is almost as much of a con as VAR is. More on that later in the show. I don't know if you've put it in the show notes.
I put it in the show notes, yeah.
I am talking about it. Fucking embarrassing. So we get drawn away to Liverpool. Cool, thanks for that cup run. That was great. Anyway... the one that counts, the league, away at Watford, I was feeling a bit confident, and I say this so often, and I said this so often last season. I was feeling quite confident, and then what happened, Ash? He released the team sheet.
Oh yes, as always.
Now, I'm aware that Will has said on a number of occasions that currently his formation selection is restricted based on the personnel that were available to him at the time. And this was still the case yesterday, right? Players had to be registered within a certain time on Friday. Certain players also have to wait for visas. There was no way we were going to get everybody registered in time to play. And even then, I don't think it fixes the problem because you're talking about minutes with the squad before you're on the pitch playing a game of football, which is difficult, right? You don't know your personnel, you don't know the people around you, don't know how they play, you don't know the runs they make, you don't know where they're going to be. However, we did see a change. Azaz, who we'd signed from Middlesbrough, obviously fellow Championship side, he started. We did originally have Flynn Downs in the lineup. He suddenly got transfer food poisoning. I'm not sure which one it is.
Cooking raw chicken again.
Yeah, and he got dropped, and Jay Robinson got brought in, who originally started on the bench, which did mean there was a slight change to the formation. So we did play 5 at the back. To we did play at a 4 in midfield that looked like it started as a bit of a diamond rather than a 2 and a 2.
Yes.
So we seem to have Shea Charles in a holding midfield role. We seem to have Wee Man on one side and Robinson on the other, with Azaz sat just behind Cam Archer. I was actually also, going to say this genuinely, very happy to see Cam Archer start. Because although I have nothing against Armour, he's not an out-and-out striker. Cam is. So I was happy to see a striker start in a striker's position. Baffling. But we did it. We got there. And I actually think the start to the game, the tempo was up and we looked quite exciting. In fact, 15 minutes in, I think I sent you a message. I was working here at the time. I had it on one of my little screens. I sent you a message saying that the commentator had said something akin to Southampton oozing with attacking confidence or something along those lines, right? And I was like, a bit early to say that 15 minutes in. But we did look a bit more exciting. Azaz seemed to be putting himself about, which seems to go against the lazy title a lot of the Middlesbrough fans gave him when we announced the transfer on Friday. He was in and amongst it quite a lot. Cam was making some interesting plays. Robinson was quite attacking. There was some lovely little flicks going on. And I actually did think we looked quite exciting going forward in spells. Mostly.
I thought we started quite well. And I think what you're talking about with... we missed it for a while is Azaz, Robinson, even Wee Man to a point yesterday were happy to get the ball at their feet and run. I thought that it was interesting that Will still set up that way. Obviously, Flynn Downs going out sick again. Seemed to lose everyone sick before the start of the flipping game this year, so needs to sack the chef or something. It was interesting how it set up, and I think for me, the old football cliche of tale of two halves is there obviously for a reason, but I think it was kind of tale of two parts. I thought for the first 55 minutes, maybe an hour, we were by far the better team, and then Watford made a couple of substitutions. Obviously, Watford aren't mugs themselves. I thought they finished the game much stronger than we did, and potentially could have nicked it at the end.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, it was just a bit. It was nice to see us attacking with a bit of intent. Obviously, we got the goal, which we'll talk about in a minute.
I think I think the further to what you've just said, though, I think one of the big issues we had yesterday was our bench was quite scatter. There was no kind of real substitute-based game plan.
Yeah,
it was kind of these are the people we've got that'll do. Because if you think about it, we Fernandes already left, Dibbling had already gone. At this point, that's two players who might have been in and around the starting lineup. So we didn't have some of the strength and depth, specifically in the middle of the park, that we had been used to in the past.
Well, the issue was, and Alfie tweeted this, Alfie House, the old Echo reporter, not old, but sorry, Alfie. But,
he doesn't watch. He
said it that we had Downs, Armstrong, and Stewart up front when Watford scored that worldie of an equaliser. And he tweeted himself, I don't see where the goal's coming from. If Southampton are going to score, I do not see where that goal is coming from.
Yeah, well, you can put 15 strikers on the pitch, but if you haven't got anyone creating chances for them, and you're relying on them to create chances for each other.
By this point, Azad had gone off, and like I said, Watford had made their chains on the arm up. But we started really brightly.
I think so.
Got the goal from another corner.
Yeah, well, interestingly, both of our goals came from set pieces, which is something that we seem to have an aversion to last season. So goal one, corner kick.
Yep.
In comes the ball. I would love to say that was a nod down from Nathan Woods. Truth be told, that was an attempted shot on target.
Yep.
Let's be honest. And he nodded it down. What was interesting here, and I noted at the start of the stream, we had a guy who said he was a Watford fan in the chat. What I think So obviously Cam's got a poacher's goal there, which is quite nice for him and probably good for his confidence. So he's bounded in after that ball's got knocked down from Nathan Wood, and he's blasted that into the roof of the net, right? And he has gone, that is going in, right?
Yeah.
That's what he said. Brilliant. What I noticed, if you watch that replay, what I noticed was, for Watford, I felt a bit sorry for them because we've been in this situation loads of times. Watch the Watford players, they all sort of stand and look at it. There's like 4 or 5 of them that just watch this thing and drop in the middle of the ball, keeper included, and then Cam's like, cool, I'll have that one then. Thanks. And I felt a bit sorry for them at that point, but I think the play was probably in our favour. There's a couple of nice little moves there was one lovely little flick, and Jay Robinson gets put through on goal, and the keeper scrambles and puts it behind. Was that the resulting free corner kick from that? I think, was it from that attack? I can't remember. But we had looked quite promising, and we scored from a set piece. And I don't know if they've been working on it, but I did notice the club a few weeks ago, a month or so ago, had announced for a set piece analyst.
So you didn't apply for it in the end then?
Analyst. I think it was an analyst.
Yeah.
They applied because we haven't had one, and obviously some of the bigger clubs at the moment have actual set piece coaches, which is quite interesting. Very American football. Not sure if I like it. But we were weak on set pieces last season, let's be fair. And if we got a corner or a free kick last season, I think the majority of Saints fans would say, cool, that's nothing then.
Well, I mean, there's been times we've done it this year. But we did. It was a good finish for Archer. It was a poacher's finish. You're right, Robinson had a chance. There's a fair few chances where Archer got into some really, really good positions as well. Cut out, I thought that realistically at the back, I think Watford kind of looks at 6s and 7s for the first sort of 35 minutes. Azaz had a chance which on his day kind of snatched it on his day, potentially could have buried. But the half kind of fizzled out.
It did.
And then the second half started, and there was a few players that did impress me for Watford yesterday, and not just because he scored the goal, but I thought that, I'm probably going to butcher his name, Riley said it up there, Iran Kunda. I think he's the Australian guy.
The young Australian dude,
he was phenomenal yesterday. That lad,
he looks dangerous.
He's going to go places. That lad.
He looks really impressive. Actually,
he looks really good. And obviously, they made their chance to changes as well, and they brought on some players who, I will admit, I don't know that much about all the Watford players because I don't recognise a lot of them. But when they made their change, I think it was around the hour mark. They made their changes. They just managed to just seemed stronger.
Yeah,
a bit more about them,
and they got their equaliser, which I want a mini rant about the equaliser slightly. And obviously, I've seen it from a TV perspective. I much prefer being in the ground because you can watch everything, you can see everything that's going on. But Manning goes down, which I have assumed is a slip or a trip. Right, I assume it's not a foul. It didn't look like it was a foul for me personally, but he's gone. Yeah. He's gone down. He's either been weak or he's fell over. One of the two. Right, either one is not really great. And at that point, we're playing 5 at the back. My biggest bugbear at the moment with this season, my biggest issue, and I say it to you every single game, is I hate 5 at the back. I hate it. If we're in the Premier League and we're playing top sides and we want to try and give ourselves some strength in defence and hit them on a counter-attack because we know that we're probably going to lose, but we'll try and nick something, I'm okay with it. That's fine. When you're in the Championship as a newly relegated Premier League side who are trying to go straight back up, I hate this 5 at the back nonsense. I don't care the players he's got available to him. I don't care. Do not play 5 at the back. Do not invite pressure. Having said that, at this particular point in time when Manning goes down, I'm then questioning where was our left centre-back? Because logically, if you've got 3 centre-backs running back with that left-back and that left-back goes down, someone should come straight across. I didn't see it. And maybe, I don't know if there's a wider angle to it. Maybe I've missed it again. I was sat over there watching
Stevens, wouldn't it?
But it just seems like he had a lot of... Once he'd gone down, he had a lot of space and time. A lot of space and time. And fair play... And here's the other thing I want to moan about now, right? Saints fans. I want to moan about Saints fans.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Meltdown number 2 happened yesterday when everyone suggested that the reason why we didn't get any more than 1 single point from that game was Gavin Bazunu. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I'd like to see anyone stop that first strike. He rocketed that in. It was maybe Gaz could have got a hand to it, right? Maybe Gav could have got a hand to it.
Maybe he didn't get a hand to it.
I don't think he did.
I thought he did get a hand to it.
I'm not sure, but he powered. It was a great strike. Realistically, the way we stopped that going in, if we stop him being in that position in the first instance, we didn't. He powered it home. Good equaliser. I don't think you can blame Bazunu for that. I'll be honest with you. And it looks like already Bazunu is going to be the season's scapegoat. Up until that point, I think we'd also had a couple more chances that we didn't put away. Guess what? You put a couple of them away. If your strikers do their job, if your forwards do their job, and they put a couple of them away, and you put the game to bed already, it kind of doesn't matter if that goes in.
It was a great strike. The lad had only been on the pitch. I can't remember his name. I think it was Bah, however you say it. He'd only been on the pitch sort of 6-7 minutes. He'd obviously gotten behind Ryan Manning, and whatever has happened there, obviously, he's cracked it away. And I thought that, again, we just looked a bit sort of shell-shocked for 5-10 minutes, almost as if, and I think anyone who's watched football today, Man City did it. We were almost coasting and just thinking, well, we're fine here. And then out of nowhere, Watford scored, and we went, oh, all right.
So also, credit to Watford, what I think happened as well is I think that when we first set up at the Diamond, they were like, oh, what's this? Because we hadn't been doing that all season.
Yep.
And obviously we had to make that last-minute change because of Flynn's dodgy chicken. I think they figured it out then. I think they figured it out, and I think they settled into it, and I think that at that point, they kind of got the measure of our midfield. And as you've written here, Watford made a bunch of changes, looked stronger. We made a bunch of changes, and I felt like we looked worse. I felt like we looked weaker.
Yeah, so Watford I can't even say their name now. Watford took off a defender and a midfielder. So I took off Kayambe and Elaine, I want to say, and brought on Barr and another guy. I can't remember. He's a striker.
Yeah.
And then obviously we took off Robinson, brought on Downs, took off Archer, brought on Armstrong at different times. At the same time we took off Fraser and brought on Matsuki. And I just think it just made us that little bit weaker where we potentially needed a bit more composure in the middle of the park.
We also took off Royce-Lev and put on Ronnie Edwards. And what I question is at this point, no disrespect to Watford.
That was very late, though, to be fair.
It was very late. But what I question at this point is, no disrespect to Watford at all, but their game was there to be won for both sides.
Yes.
And I think that if we'd have taken off a defensive player, a Wood or a Harwood Bellis, and we'd have put on a midfielder to strengthen that midfield or another forward, we'd have gone to a 4-5-2. I think we could have... a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1. Sorry, I know what I meant.
I just thought that, yeah.
If you go to a 4-5-2, you're cheating. If we'd have done that, I think we could have perhaps put a lot more pressure on Watford, and we could have perhaps nicked the win. Now, we almost did, to be fair, because Armour, one of the things he did do was he did draw a foul right at the edge of the box.
Now, it was the only thing that he did. But
it's about the only thing that he did. Now, it's one of those as well where I looked at the position of that free kick and went, oh, well, it's too close.
Yes.
It's too close to the 18-yard box. There's no chance, right? There's no chance he's going to go up and down and get it over and bend that in. Armour then stood over it. I don't know what he was thinking. He's fooling no one. He can't shoot from 6 yards out, so there's no way he's doing it from 20. But Manning also stood over it. I don't know what's happened to Ryan Beckham Manning now. I don't know what's going on here, but he's... Oh, okay. And he put it straight in the bottom corner. It was quite a good free kick.
He almost went the wrong way. He went the way that you should never have gone.
And put it in.
And put it in. And do you know what? It's a great finish. Limbs in the away end. Really good to see. It's good to see that he's discovered some sort of shooting beach. He's had a lot of bad luck in the last couple of years. He's had a lot of chances. He obviously had the goal disallowed at Wolves last year, which should never have been disallowed. Thanks for VAR. More on that again later.
Wankers.
And then almost instantaneously, we give away a free kick up the other end.
It was late. It was lazy. I was angry. I say angry. I don't think it was an actual free kick.
I don't think it was a free kick, but it's another one of those ones where you've given the referee a decision to make. And if you don't make that challenge, you don't give the referee a decision to make.
I think that the person who's given him the decision to make is the Watford player, because I think he's gone down far too easy. I don't think it was a free kick. That being said, he gave it. I actually don't think the ref had a terrible game.
He wasn't the worst.
He wasn't the worst. I think he was relatively okay.
It'll probably be one of the better ones we've had in this season.
Right, exactly. So I don't want to criticise the referee. I've seen people criticise the referee, and although I don't think it was a free kick, I think on the balance of play, you could have argued that when Armour went down and we scored our free kick, there's refs that wouldn't have given that, and they wouldn't have, right? Mm-hmm. So, but we seem to do this so frequently. We score a goal and then we're kind of loose and open and a bit lackadaisical, and we so often score and then concede straight away, and it's just such a Saints thing to do. But we gave the free kick away. And again, Saints fans have criticised Gavin Bazunu here. I'm not a goalkeeper. So he set his wall and he stood on the other side. And someone in the chat has already said he showed a huge amount of his goal. And I do think I'm going to... where I'm going to disagree slightly with the comment in chat is the free kick taker placed it perfectly.
I think he placed it well, however, and I'm not part of the witch hunt Bazunu because I think that people forget what he did the first year we was relegated. What he did when we were in the Championship at Russell Martin, the fact that had he not got injured in the warm-up against Preston, he would have been in goal for the rest of that season. And arguably, we would have got a lot better with him in goal than Alex McCarthy in goal, because Alex McCarthy, because he did a lot of goals and we ended up from being top 2 to finishing 4th in a 3-horse race.
That being said, Alex McCarthy pulled off some fucking incredible saves on Tuesday.
He did. We'll cover that later, because some of that I was sat there watching the game with Dad, and that game was embarrassing to a degree. I will admit, when I watched it, my first reaction was, again, not a witch hunt against Bazunu, was I think he's given himself too much space to get over. Having said that, unless he's a mind reader and stands on that post, he's not stopping it. And sometimes, and again, this was the issue with Bazunu isn't his fault. He's just not tall enough. If he's Donnarumma, he might maybe be able to maybe get a hand for it, but he's not the tallest goalkeeper.
Well, I did see some screenshots on Twitter of his dive and how he hasn't even made it above the advertising board. And I'm like, I mean, that's your angle, you lunatic.
People will look for Bazunu is not the reason we got a point yesterday.
Well, and this goes back to what I said. If we buried all of our chances, we didn't have the run of possession. It's interesting. It's something we're sort of not used to as Saints fans. I think it ended on about 48% possession for Saints.
I've got the stats here. We had 45%. Watford had 55%. We completed 331 passes. Watford completed 398 passes. The only thing I don't have, which I know is going to really annoy, is I don't have the XG.
Oh no! I know we had more attempts on goal.
Yes, only we had 12 shots to their 10, 7 on target. They had 4.
Yeah. So if you put more of those away, then you win the game.
Yep.
Ultimately.
Yep.
Right. So, and this is my. There's only one stat that ever matters. The one stat that you can give me: possession, red cards, yellow cards, corners, XG, G spots, whatever you want to give. You give me any of them, right? Give me any of the statistics you want. What matters is how many times the ball go in the net. It's all that matters. I don't care. Sometimes, like, I'll be honest, there's a point that when we play Pompey in 2 weeks' time, I don't care if we come away with 30% possession at home, but we score 5 and they score none. Don't care.
Yeah, but
we thrashed them.
The other point you also have to mention, and this is why football fans can be fickle, and this is what really gets me. Even if Bazunu was at fault, now I potentially had a question mark over Bazunu for the second goal for Stoke last week, but it went under him. He wasn't at fault for the goal against Ipswich. He wasn't at fault for conceding the penalty. But no one ever remembers, or everyone seems to forget, that absolutely outstanding save he made in the 89th minute against Wrexham before we won. He wasn't at fault for anything against Ipswich. If anything, he was one of our better players against Ipswich. Against Stoke, he made an absolute superb save before they scored, and probably 2-3 saves before then that were actually quite decent and smart. And even yesterday, he didn't have much to do, but what he did apart from the goals, he did very, very well. I don't think he could hold question marks on the first goal. And there you go. Ian's put in the XG. There you go.
I don't. That's the worst statistic ever, Ian.
Keep throwing XG. Keep throwing XG. And then obviously with the second one, look, people can criticise. Obviously, it's the same as we would criticise a left centre back not coming over. I think the show title of "Don't Panic" is the perfect thing, because we had meltdown because Matty Fernandez signed for West Ham. We had meltdown because we thought Tom Fellows wasn't signing for us because of what Ryan Mason said in his interview. We then had meltdown because we got a point away at Watford, which, let's be honest, Vicarage Road is never really an easy place to go, guys.
And I want to bring that specific point up because I've done some show research, Ash.
Jesus Christ!
I know.
I am shocked. It's not even in the notes, so you're going rogue again.
It's not. I have shown you. You know, you're aware of it.
Oh, okay. Fine.
So I'm a person at the moment, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, Saints fans, who I am feeling pretty good and pretty calm. And I did put the title "Don't Panic" because I think that watching Twitter and the wider social media, Facebook included, and other parts, over the course of the last 3 days has been interesting, hilarious, and sometimes downright embarrassing for some people. But it is what it is. It's the world of social media. People seem to be losing their absolute heads at the moment. In the 2023-2024 season, in the same 4 fixtures that we've played this season, against the same teams, if, however, we swap Wrexham for Plymouth, because obviously they were a newly promoted side, right? Yep. In the same 4 fixtures we played them further into the season. We didn't play them as the first 4 games where we had just been relegated as one of the most embarrassing Premier League teams to ever exist, with a management change and then another management change and another management change, and then having loads of players out and all sorts of nonsense, right? So Will Still's got a much more difficult task, I believe, than what happened for these particular games in the 23-24 season. How many points do you think we got from those 4 games in the 23-24 season, Ash?
So who are we talking about?
So we're talking about Ipswich away. We're talking about Plymouth at home.
We won.
We're talking about Stoke at home.
We lost.
And we're talking about Watford away.
4
points. The same. And it wasn't a new squad, a new manager, the first 4 games of the season after a confidence-decimating Premier League campaign. I'm just saying. This has come from a tweet from a guy called Tom Murray on Twitter. I like to credit the people that give me this information. It wasn't me. I went and found it. I saw it. I kept it. I wanted it for the show because I thought it was important. But people losing their heads, the fact that, you know what? I would have liked to have had more points at this stage. At this stage of the season, going into the South Coast Derby, I would like to have been above Portsmouth rather than above us. But
it's only 4 games in, guys.
It's only 4 games in, and we've got 4 points. So, and I don't think at any point we've looked horrific. And we're not yet seen Will's final form in terms of his team and his squad, right? Because there's deals that literally going through 10 minutes before we go live. Yeah. So for those people that are on social media losing their mind, saying it's embarrassing and we should be smashing in wins all over the place and we should be 12 points in at this point, give your heads a wobble. 4 points is the same as what we did in the previous championship campaign against the same teams. Like, of course I'd like to have more points at this stage, but if you think about what happens on Friday in the transfer window, I personally at the moment, and I'm prepared that I might be proven wrong here, incredibly excited about this season ahead. Incredibly excited about the football we might be able to watch us play, because I sat and watched that shit for the whole of last year. And some of those players we've signed, I'm incredibly excited about it. Hey, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. And I actually think there were spells yesterday where I was quite excited by it. And I'll hold my hands up. I think Watford probably deserved a point.
Riley's just asked a great question, because you're not worried that the league is much stronger than 2 years ago, so the same results potentially could mean less.
Is the league much stronger than 2 years ago?
I think on a whole, last 2 years ago when we were in it, us, Leicester and Leeds were almost running away with it.
I don't think the league is. Ipswich. I don't know. I don't think the league is stronger.
I think as a whole, the league is stronger.
I think Leicester are significantly weaker. I think Ipswich are having a torrid time right now. Oxford don't look great. I don't know if I do think it's stronger. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure is the honest answer to your question. That being said, if the league is stronger, but we then take into consideration the fact that it's the first 4 games of the season, we kind of maybe we can balance it out there, right? I don't think it's that bad. I think Saints fans are, and I kind of get it after last season. I do.
Yeah.
I kind of get the back on the noose because that's where we were all last. I get it, but people, for Christ's sake, I think calm down and also. Have you heard a single person yet who has said that they prefer the Premier League to the Championship?
No.
So is it the worst in the world if we don't go up straight away? You obviously want to compete at the best, but sometimes people baffle me. That being said,
so on the whole, we're going to write a line under Watford. On the whole,
man of the match.
So I had my theory watching it. I put a members poll in, and the overall winner was Nathan Wood.
Oh.
I actually thought Nathan Wood was superb again yesterday. Ryan Fraser was a second, and I've seen Ian in there has said that Wee Man was his man of the match. I think there's arguments for Wee Man being man of the match in every game he's played, to be fair. But I thought Nathan Wood was different gravy yesterday.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I actually think that if you were going to play a back 4 now, then Nathan Wood would have to be one of the 2.
We'll get into transfer news, obviously. There was a link for one of our main centre-backs, Taylor Harbour-Bellis, to go away somewhere. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Cool. There was also links that Ronnie Edwards might go back to QPR. Cool. Whatever. Because I think Nathan Wood is arguably proving to be the better centre-back out of all of them.
I think he's been the better performer at the moment.
Yes.
The issue that so obviously we've now got 2 weeks. Not many. Some are going on international duty. We've got the transfer window to be finalised. And let's be honest, I did to you earlier, there is absolutely every opportunity for anyone to go absolutely anywhere.
Tomorrow could be carnage, chat. Let's be honest. The squad, that, as it looks now, might be drastically different tomorrow. So let's wait and see. And that's not just for us; that's for every team as well. So when that young Australian performs the way that he performed yesterday for Watford, is he new signed, or is he? He's been there last season, wasn't he?
He was at Bayern before, I think he was.
He was there last season, though, wasn't he?
I don't bloody know.
Because if he is, there's every chance that people could have watched
that much research.
This is what I'm saying. There's every chance people could watch that performance and go, fancy a bit of him. So yeah, I think my man of the match probably would have also gone for Fraser. I also quite liked what I saw from Azaz as well, I'll be honest. I don't know if I'm man of the match worthy, but I liked what I saw from him. Probably would have gone for Fraser. But then I like the fact actually that we're seeing people giving it to a centre back, because quite often defensive players get very overlooked when it comes to man of the match. So that's fair play, members. If you're unaware, we run a members poll at the end of every game for man of the match. You can get involved just by becoming a member of the channel, which is very, very easy on YouTube. You hit that little $sign, you sign up. It's a monthly recurring fee. It's Ash and I. You're giving money to us. It's not a Nigerian prince. So you support the stream, you support the channel. And you can get involved in things like members only giveaways and polls and stuff like that. And I want to be doing 2 or 3 more giveaways throughout this season. What they look like, I don't quite know, but we want to do some more. So amazing. Obviously, in the week we played the second to last game we're going to play this season in the Carabao Cup.
Yep.
Where Norwich.
Yep.
We won 3-0.
Yep.
In what was, I think, our worst performance of the season.
Yep. Easily. well, I think it was on a par, if not slightly worse than the performance against Northampton. But again, very different lineup. Obviously, McCarthy was in goal. There was no Jack Stevens. There was no Adam Armstrong compared to what he'd usually played.
There was also no Fernandez. And Will was asked about why no Fernandez. Cup game, resting people. There's no Jack Stevens either, so don't worry about it. Is what he told us on Tuesday night.
2 days later.
Yeah, which I know upset some fans, but
we'll get on to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But so we'd made some changes in the first half. I think it may not have been the worst game because of the result, but the first half was easily the worst half of football we played. Alex McCarthy made a fair few good saves. We were all over the place.
McCarthy kept us in it, Ash, let's be honest.
Out of nowhere, the ball broke because Flynn Downs was fighting for it. It got to one of the Norwich players. He passed it to Ross Stewart because, why wouldn't you pass it to the guy in white when you're playing in yellow? He's fed Cameron Archer through. And unlike when we put the ball into their feet, he's put the ball just slightly ahead of him. Archer's taken one touch, boom, top corner.
It was an incredible finish.
Cracking finish.
Yeah, it was one of those where you're like, oh, this is what he can do.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it yet in the Saints yet, really, but this is what he can do. And he didn't muck about with it. He didn't try and lay it off. He didn't pass it back. He created himself some space and banged it, and then it went.
So I know you don't want to touch too long on this game because it is the game. We then came out second half, huffed and puffed for a bit, put the ball down the channel and over the top of someone's head.
Yeah, from, again, Manning.
Ryan Fraser tucked away a beautiful one. We then made more changes.
To be fair to Fraser's goal as well, the defender really should have done better there. But
he should have done. And then obviously Kuryu Matsuki picks it up in the middle. He runs through and he thinks, I've got 2 choices. I can hit it or I can pass it to Ben Burton Diaz. I'll just hit it. And it goes in, top corner, top bins.
If you are Norwich, that's when you probably pass it to Ben Burton Diaz because you know the ball's safe. But he does pull off a worldie of a strike.
He gets a hand to it.
So much so that I think it was Will still even came out and went, I didn't even know he could do that.
Yeah, he said he'd done that in training. He said, there's a few of them have gone into the woods. Yeah. But my concern from the game was Norwich had made a lot of changes. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of, bad feeling in Norwich because they've just sold one of their star players to Ipswich.
Lol.
And apparently Ipswich are now coming back in with a £22 million bid for Josh Sargent. Newsflash, he's not worth £22 million.
He's not worth £22 million.
He's
a good player.
Awful. His injury record is awful.
Isn't he top scorer in the league at the moment as well? With 5. I bet you'll find that statistic's true.
I will have a look. But we huffed and puffed. Watford weren't playing the worst team, but they were okay.
When you say Watford, you mean Norwich?
Yeah, I meant Norwich. See, I'm going mad now. We scored. We won 3-0. 3 good goals. We'll take it. We move on. Obviously, then we go into.
Did we have a man of the match for that game as well?
I didn't do a man of the match poll for that game.
We didn't. Okay. Now, obviously, the first thing we'll touch on before we go into some of the transfers, remembering, of course, we have a proper transfer show tomorrow. We'll look at all of it in a bit more depth, right? However,
I'm sorry, just quickly. Yes, Josh Sargent is top goal scorer at the moment.
With
5.
See, you felt the need to check me. I'm like Rain Man sometimes. Numbers just go in and I stay. Right.
Shut up.
So we then get the cup draw in what is this nonsense fixed.
Oh, it's
crap
a
where
fast, isn't it?
is.
Oh
it's
my god!
So honestly, the English Football League is like there's some of the interviews from these new players who go, "Oh, playing in England is the best football leagues in the world." And when you get around the top, it's the most corrupt in the world as well. And we get drawn. Somehow for our reward is we get drawn away at Liverpool. Now I'm gonna make a statement here, right? We're not going to win the Carabao Cup.
No.
Right, good. So we get that one out of the way straight away, right? Let's be realistic. We're not going to win the Carabao Cup, okay? No. I would rather go away to a team like Liverpool, where we expect to lose to be knocked out, than go to some League One side like Grimsby and get beat when we
Shout
expect
out to Grimsby, by the way.
Yeah, of course, but get beat when we expect to win.
Yeah.
Because one of those is worse for your confidence overall.
Yes.
So I think if you go to, and if we look at it logically, if you go away to a team like Liverpool and you get beat a couple of goals to nil, you come back going, we expected to lose, it's cool, we carry on in the league. If you go to a team, perhaps like, no disrespect to Grimsby, by the way, they did a great job, and I was team Grimsby for that game anyway.
Yeah.
If you go to a lower league team, a team below you in League One or League Two, and you lose, that can be a real confidence knock. So I'm not that sad about drawing Liverpool because we're likely going to get knocked out, which I kind of want, because I really want Saints to just focus on the league. And so I feel like this is kind of the best. Sorry, League Two, yeah. So I feel like this is kind of the best all round. Do you know what I mean? Like this is if you're going to go out, do it to a team you expect to go out to. And on the flip side, if we beat them at Anfield, I'm not expecting we will. I don't think we will. But if we do, that then becomes a mad confidence boost. So you're in kind of a win-win situation, sort of. Do you not think?
No, I think you've looked at it a way that I would never. I mean, I will admit, I sat there watching the draw, and when it came out, I knew what number ball we were, and when number 22 came out, which was us, obviously away at Liverpool, I gave an expletive, and my wife, who was sat next to me, just looked up, looked at the TV, and chuckled slightly. Thanks, love. Probably not watching. Probably asleep. But yeah, you're right. It's a game. We don't want to be drawn away to League Two Grimsby or League One Huddersfield and end up losing a game where we played 90 minutes and gone through a penalty shootout and got knocked out to not confidence. It's a game where some players can go. They can express themselves. We'll probably get battered to a 3-0. Crack on, move on.
It's a free game, isn't it? Because no one expects us to win. So, Well,
I think the week that we're playing them is the second week of fixtures because the Champions League starts the week before. So for them, it'll be Champions League, Premier League, Champions League, Premier League, Carabao Cup, Premier League, Champions League. So I think there might be a chance they just throw out kids.
Yeah, instead it says unless they smash us 9-0. It's obviously a possibility, but
thanks, Steve.
I'm hoping that's not the case. Right, okay. So this is a busy bit that's not going to be too busy. We're going to touch on this because I don't want to be too late away tonight because Luce and I are going to watch a film. Not going to watch a film, we're doing it in our lounge, but we're going into our lounge to watch. It's called Legends. It's the one about the Cray twins. She's never seen it. I told her it was brilliant.
Fantastic.
She found it today. We're going to watch it in a minute.
A film podcast starting next week, guys.
So yeah. So I'm going to be going home at.
Hang on, you don't watch movies?
I'm going to be going home at definitely the speed limit because I like that film.
You don't watch movies.
So transfer news. Right, tomorrow, like I said to you already, tomorrow we will be doing a dedicated transfer show. We're going to probably looking at the transfers for Saints. Level 8 we're on right now. I love those little videos. I love those little videos. We're on level 8 right now. I expect that by the end of tomorrow we'll be on level 10 plus, honestly. There's a couple that my sources tell me are quite close to being done. So let's touch on them quickly, right? First things first, Dibble and Gom.
Yeah, confirmed on Tuesday. Bye.
No surprise. Good. Get him out. Cool. The next one was the one that caused meltdown number 1.
Yes.
So Will had said to us on Tuesday, can't read too much into Matty not being here because I've rested Jack Stevens as well because they're the same. And then on Thursday, confirmed Matt Fernandez signs for West Ham and the club announced.
Well, it was confirmed Friday morning, but I think Thursday was when it was confirmed that So we had this piece, didn't we? We had this piece where Fernandez had gone for a medical, and for a fair long while, everyone was under the impression that he'd gone up there against the wishes of the club. And he'd apparently, and I say apparently here because it obviously wasn't confirmed, apparently had been pictured at their training ground and had a medical and spoken to people against the rules of the club, etc., etc. Since then, he's then messaged
Saints board,
the
fans for it.
at the Saints Centre on Twitter, because like you will give the right shout out to the right people, or on social media, on Instagram, whichever one it was, and he's rubbished that and said I would never do that. I had permission from the club to go, and he's gone.
I obviously played the bit here for a while that I didn't think he was going, and when we sold Dibbling for 40 million ish. And we'd obviously unloaded Ramsdale's wages for an incoming fee for his loan as well. There was a little part of me that did think it was possible we'd keep hold of Fernandes. It was possible. And it was possible. We, however, have now let him go for another 40 million.
Yes.
Right? For all intents and purposes, both deals are around 40 million quid, right? And Saints Online hit meltdown on Twitter. Utter meltdown. And I was sad and I was upset, and I think that he probably could have done better than West Ham. No disrespect to West Ham fans, but I do think he's a very good player. He's 21. I think he's got bags of potential and huge amounts of promise. And I think that he probably... The funny thing was, West Ham fans are going, he's left you. I'm like, if he's as good as we think he is, he won't be there for very long either. Because that's how football works.
Yep.
Ultimately, right? Let's face it, West Ham, sorry to say this, you are in fact a stepping stone. So I was disappointed, to say the least. Genuinely was disappointed. However, I took a step back. I started looking at stats and figures and numbers, as I sometimes am inclined to do. And what we've essentially done...
Did you look at XG?
No.
Oh.
But I did look at goals. And what we've essentially done is we've made about 80 million quid for 4 goals. I mean, that's good business.
I won't make a mention on Tyler Dibbling because we spoke about him last week. The only thing I will say in defence of Fernandes, and I get it to his point, he wants to go to the World Cup this year. And if he's playing for Southampton in the Championship, he's not going to go to the World Cup. On a side note, I also still don't think he's going to go to the World Cup. When you look at the Portuguese midfield, it's a lot stronger than him. But
he does have a better chance.
He has a better chance of going. Now, I watched West Ham play today. They weren't fantastic, but he was all right. What I will say is Nottingham Forest today were absolutely dreadful. So I think Nuno will be on his bike soon. I've watched a lot of football today, actually. It's been a great day.
I watched Lord of the Rings. Carry on.
But he has done... Look, it's you never want a player to go. And by the sound of things, we thought he was unprofessional, but it sounds like everything was done in a professional route. I don't think... Fans won't know what he said over social media. They'll just hear the bad stuff. It's £40 million, and I actually would argue now that with the players that we bought, which we'll cover in a minute, we're in a stronger position than we were before we left.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying around the stats. He was the best player. He was a good egg in a bunch of bad eggs.
He was the best player on our team.
The best player in the team.
By a long way.
And
now
I'm hoping he can improve West Ham dramatically. However, this is the point. And even in our Discord, we had people in our Discord saying, but why is he going to West Ham? They're getting relegated. We were only 2 games into Premier League season,
it's mad, isn't it? People... Anyway, I think one of the reasons why some people were upset was because we had originally gone big stamp, 50 million quid price tag.
Yeah.
And we let him go for 40. And people would suggest that we sold ourselves short there. But that was before he then had said, actually, I want to go.
Yeah.
And when a player says he wants to go, why would you force him to stay?
Hashtag
and I'm going to be honest with you as well. He was the best player we had last season by, I think, quite a long way. However, this season, I'd say he's been pretty subpar.
Well, your comment's interesting, and obviously we're going to clear a lot of it tomorrow. So in the whole aspect of transfer news, we've got Alexander Isak at Newcastle, we've got Johan Wissa at Brentford. Players who have made it very clear they want to leave their football clubs, and football clubs that have gone, nah.
Yeah.
So if you're Alexander Isak at Newcastle and you are forced to stay and you have no option but to stay, once that window, and we've got to use a phrase, once that window slams shut tomorrow at 7 o'clock, does he then get his head on and go, do you know what, I might as well just start playing for Newcastle again then? Because it's kind of...
Well, I mean, yes, because otherwise you get to the next transfer window and your value's down and your wage that you can command is down, right? Because you haven't played.
It's only 4 months.
Fair, but still, I think if I'm one of those people, and I'll always be one of those people that if a player doesn't want to play for the club, fuck off. Ultimately, right? I know he had 4 years left on his contract. If he doesn't want to play for the club anymore, and actually, if he didn't breach rules to go up to West Ham and everything was above board, I genuinely wish him and Dibbling all the best. But I think, and Quirrell in chat says, you scored 25 all year last season, and so 4 goals is quite a bit. 4 goals is quite a bit comparatively with what we scored, but 4 goals, getting £20 million per goal is still a hell of a steal here. That's not good value on goals purchased for attacking players. Whether we scored 25 all season is irrelevant. The fact of the matter is they scored 4 and we've made 80 million quid. What's more important with that 80 million quid is what's allowed us to do, which is I think a absolute masterclass from Johan Sports. We'll go on that in a minute. Because as well as losing 2 good players, Dibbling's a good player. I don't care what anyone says. There's a lot of copium on Twitter where they go, he's not that great. Dibbling could be an incredible player. Matty could be an incredible player. They're both good players. I genuinely am a person who wishes them the best. I do believe if you don't want to play for the club, off. But I wish them the best. Right?
Yeah.
What we've also done is we've shifted some dead wood as well.
We've shifted 3 bits of shit.
Yeah. Oh look, he's finally turned up.
Cameron's finally turned up.
No one in chat tell Cameron that he won the giveaway. No one tell him. Should have been here from the start. So we've shifted some dead wood, Ash. Yeah.
Yes, we have. So bottle of ketchup. For weeks and weeks and weeks was going to SC Nantes in France and has ended up going to Italy. So he's gone to Verona.
Yeah, on loan.
To Fair Verona on loan. I believe we have an option to extend his deal by a further year.
And they have an option to buy.
Yes, so we could extend his option by a year whilst he's there and then sell him. So that's fine. We've then obviously also shipped out our best rugby player, Yuki Sugawara, has gone to Werder Bremen in Germany on loan.
He has, yep.
With an option to buy. And then not long earlier this afternoon, it was confirmed that Ben Barrett Donkey has gone to Derby on season-long loan. However, I'm not sure whether that has an option to buy.
I really hope it has an obligation to buy.
But he's gone. He's gone. So that means going into it, we're not going to touch too much. We'll touch on the ins in a minute. That we've got, as far as we're aware, Jamesbury is potentially on his way out. Smallbone potentially on his way out. Aribo, although there's been no bids. Edozie and Smallbone.
Yeah, potentially on their way out, right? And actually, if you think about it, and you think about the last few seasons, they are shipping a lot of what I would consider deadwood.
Yes,
ultimately. And I think it's good. Loans don't sound great because people aren't buying them, but loans are better than nothing. It gets the wage bill off the club's wage bill. And we've got options to buy ABK. Ultimately, if we don't extend his contract, they don't want him. We just release him, and it hasn't cost us anything.
100%.
So there's good news here. Although they're loans, there's good news here. And the best thing is that Sugawara goes to Werder Bremen, lights their world on fire, and they buy him from us. That's ultimately what we want. And Sugawara, high work rate. Like the lads, but isn't really good enough, right?
Not good enough for this country.
Also, just quickly on the Matty Fernandez thing, Quirrell says delighted with it, to be honest. The midfield transformed today and looked competent because of him. Matty and Paqueta work well together. I'm genuinely glad for him. I want him to do well. And if you're happy with him for 40 million quid, I'm happy for you. I do think you've overpaid. Honestly, I think he's a good player, but I think you've probably overpaid for him. And I think that when the club slapped a £50 million price tag on him, I was like, that's a lot. Oh, but hey.
He looked decent for West Ham today, but
him going alongside Tyler going has allowed us to do what I'm about to talk about, which makes me happy. You're a West Ham fan. You're happy. He's in the Premier League. He's happy. Everyone's happy. Jobs are good in, right? So, I do think, I'll be honest with you, the one warning I would give you is I think he's got an incredible load of bags of potential, and if someone can unlock the ability for him to just pull the trigger outside the box and play that killer pass, I think he'll end up at a bigger team. I don't mean that disrespectfully 100%. As a West Ham fan. I don't mean that, but I think he'll end up at a bigger team. So Deadwood going out, some more Deadwood potentially going out. We did reject bids from QPR from Ronnie Edwards.
Yeah, apparently it was way undervalued.
It was undervalued, but also he's not looked great so far.
The potential in Ronnie Edwards is why I think he's still at the football club.
Yeah, because he did win their Young Player of the Year last year, didn't he? After doing only half a season.
England under-21 international, etc., etc., etc.
So anyway, ins is now important, right?
Yes.
The worst ones first.
George Long, no one cares.
He's a third string keeper, people, right? So if Baz gets injured, McCarthy steps up and he goes on the bench. The likelihood of him playing any games is close to zero. Stop panicking. And then it gets interesting.
Yes.
So the first one announced Azaz.
Yes.
From Middlesbrough.
Yes.
I hadn't really heard of him. I spoke to a Middlesbrough fan who I know who said probably the best playmaker in the league. I get that he's a Middlesbrough fan, so he's probably a bit biased, but he said probably the best playmaker in the league.
I'd heard of him. Obviously, I watched a lot of Championship football. No, not digging at you, but I watch a lot more football than you do.
You do?
I thought that he was, when his name was mentioned, it was one of those ones that popped up and went, oh, okay. But then you suddenly realise that when you do watch Middlesbrough on the TV, he's probably one of their better players. But decent deals to get over the line. Watched him at Plymouth as well a couple of years ago because he was at Plymouth when he first played us. And when he came down to St Mary's when Middlesbrough played us the year that we got promoted, he was superb. I think he hit the post at St Mary's and he was pulling strings.
Importantly, he's a natural number 10, which we have genuinely lacked for a while.
Yes.
Because Matty isn't a natural number 10. Dibbling's not a natural number 10. I think Matty's more of a box-to-box 8. Dibbling is a wide player. We just haven't had a good clinical attacking midfielder who's going to feed strikers and also have a pop. Amazing. I'm chuffed. We'll go into the wider how we think the team's going to line up tomorrow. But then the admin team, and this is where I think Spores has played one of the best games of poker I think I've seen in a transfer window as a Saints fan, right? Because obviously there's been probably bigger, more impressive transfers. But the Matty going on Friday clearly allowed him. I just have this image of him with 4 phones. Because he's clearly signed off on one and then signed the next 3 straight away, near enough, right?
Done.
Absolute genius, this. So, in my opinion, without seeing them play. The next one, Yander from the German side, from Nuremberg, who I did a bit of research on this guy. I know you're shocked. I got quite excited. I like transfer windows, right? When we're doing okay. This guy is so highly rated.
Well, let's ask Cameron. Cameron's in the chat. He lived in Germany for a while. I know he's over in Cyprus now.
He's so highly rated and apparently links with Premier League clubs.
And Stuttgart and higher Bundesliga clubs.
And apparently came here because of Johann Spores and Will Steele.
And the money.
Well, of course. I've got opinions on him, which we'll go into tomorrow in more detail. But what we've got now is we've got a 10.
Yeah.
We've got a central midfielder who's also quite creative, scores goals, looks good, looks calm on the ball, high work rate. And then the one that you got excited about.
I'm going to have an admission here. I don't think I told you this, but I got excited when I heard that Tom Fellows was coming down for medical. I then watched Ryan Mason's interview on Friday because I've had a week off work or a couple of weeks off work. And then I went into full-on meltdown when he said that, I believe the quote he said was, Tom's still in the building. And I was like, what? He's supposed to be having a medical. And I went onto Twitter and I saw the meltdown and I was like, I'm going to have more of a meltdown. And then, yeah, we signed him out of the blue. No one knew what was going on.
So the rumour is that we'd agreed the fee with the club. We'd offered him terms and it was down. And we'd agreed the fee on the Wednesday and offered Tom terms, right?
Yeah.
And he had to make his mind up. And the thing is, chat, he's playing at West Bromwich Albion, where he started as an academy player at the age of, I think, 8, if I remember rightly. And he's a West Brom fan. So I don't think it was an easy decision for him, and nor was it a quick decision. I'm actually kind of glad he's taken the time to think about it.
It also you would assume in that situation, take him one hell of a proposition, not financial, but an actual, you're going to get a good opportunity for him to come over, because otherwise you wouldn't have done it, surely.
Yeah. So we then signed Fellows, which is probably the best signing we've had out of all of them so far. Would you agree?
I wouldn't say the best. I think the issue with Fellows is you've got this issue now where you go from, you don't just talk about goals, do you talk about goals and assists? So in the last 3 seasons or whatever, the player who's top for goals and assists in the Championship together is Azaz. I think Adam Armstrong's third or something. But the one thing that Fellows does is, again, it's something that we haven't done, and it's what Azaz gives us to a degree. He's someone who's happy to get the ball at his feet, run at people, take people on. He's been in a West Brom team who have been there or thereabouts. He has some very, very good games. He also, like most wingers and most attackers, can go missing in games. But it gives us another dimension to the play that we've been doing.
I think the most important thing for him as well is the fee that we paid.
He's only a 22 as well. So it's important to know that if he comes good and we don't get promoted, he potentially could be moving on for bigger numbers. Now, you said about Saints meltdown. Just seeing Jack's comment there. Saints Twitter going in meltdown. One of our members in our Discord said when Azaz is signed, there's a shirt on the seat. There's a shirt on the seat. That could be another one. And everyone was like, calm down. Even I was like, don't be stupid. Of course, there's going to be another shirt on the seat. And then obviously when they announced Tom Fellow, before they did anything, did a little video of him walking and going, is that one mine? And I love it. I was like,
Saints admin had a fucking field day on Friday. It was great.
And
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
It's good to get to a point now that
£8 million for him, by the way, is mental.
Yeah, it is mental. But I've never been in a position for the last 2-3 seasons where I've been excited going in. I'm. If it wasn't for the fact that the next game was against that lot down the road, I'd be really excited to see, because I genuinely can see us setting up 4-4-2.
Well, we also, literally just before we went live, confirmed the signing, hence level 8, of
Elias
Jellicopter,
yeah.
Who is it's a loan from Galatasaray
With an option to buy.
Galatasaray? Yeah, option to buy. He's quite exciting. Apparently he can play left and right, so whether we're bringing him in as cover, I don't know. At the moment, I feel like Mads and Manning is going to be the first choice wingers.
Ross Lever's looked very, very solid since.
Yeah, I like Royce Lever so far. So perhaps this is cover, but if you can have one bloke on the bench as cover who can cover both wing-back positions, that's good. And we're not done. Obviously, we've got another just under 24 hours now. Hence, we'll be doing our transfer show tomorrow at 8 p.m. There's names, my sources tell me, that Leo Cienza, is that how you say it? I don't know. We agreed personal terms with him already. We went in on a €3 million bid. The club said no, they want 10. It looks like we've agreed 8. That's what we've heard. We've agreed 8 million. So he's another winger, which means our whole midfield could look wildly different in a couple of weeks, which is very exciting, because our midfield previously was shit. There's also another player we've been linked with. Italian media reported on it, and I can't remember the name. He's a defensive midfielder.
Doumbia, I think, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. We'll cover this off tomorrow, obviously.
He scored a couple of goals for whatever they're called in the Coppa Italia. Issa Doumbia.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a look at this tomorrow, potentially. But yeah, cool. So transfer is exciting. Big transfer show tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll look at all of our business in the window from start to finish, because it's obviously been going on for a while now. In the wider championship, Ash, do you want to take us through the results?
So obviously what you said, match day 4 yesterday. So there were wins for Swansea. Wrexham won at Millwall, got their first win of the season.
Go on, Wrexham.
Kiefer Moore got another goal.
Did he?
Looking good. Bristol City smashed Hull. Norwich won after going into meltdown after selling Nunez. West Brom beat tabletop in Stoke.
Yep, who are no longer tabletop.
QPR beat Charlton. Oh, no.
Oh, boo.
Oh, no one cares.
Probably God's fault.
And obviously, because it's probably God's fault. Oh, my God. Because it's relevant to the club to a degree, and obviously we've just brought Azaz from them as well. Middlesbrough beat Sheffield United yesterday. Now, for all of those who are over social media, and I'm going to cover a few here, the absolute meltdown that Sheffield United have now, they want him gone, and they want him gone now.
So Middlesbrough did beat, and I don't know if this is just me. Football's a lot more cutthroat than I am, but I do often think to myself, when we buy what is essentially your best player, and you go and win, I'm like, yeah, good, fair play, off you go. You're all right there.
It's fair play to Middlesbrough. Obviously, Rob Edwards is in charge, but I can't see him staying at the top.
Sheffield United is an enigma to me. I don't understand why they sacked the boss in the first instance. Because playoff final they lost in, didn't they? Was that right?
Lost playoff final Sunderland.
So he got them to playoff final and lost, and then he gets himself the sack. I would consider that a pretty successful season. Unless, of course, the board's expectations at the start of the season was gain promotion. In that case, he's failed his target.
It would have been, to be fair.
But I feel like doing that, and then again, what is it with football in general and managers failing up? I don't understand it. Ruben Sellers is an awful manager, isn't he?
He's not had the best results, is he?
We're seeing it, and they went over to clap their fans yesterday, and it was a pretty toxic atmosphere.
It was very toxic. And on the top of that toxicity, I've not put this in the show notes. I have said to the guys in Discord, I put some time in my diary today to sit and watch the Old Firm derby.
Who's out first, Sellers or Martin?
See, I'm not sure, because it's interesting as Saints fans when we sit here talking about it, and we knew that Russell Martin had a philosophy of how to play football, and he, let's be honest, he lived by the sword and he died by the sword. He wasn't changing that at all.
He's doing it again by the looks of it.
No. Well, this is the thing. Today, they completely abandoned that philosophy, and they looked a lot better. Granted, Celtic were dreadful, and I don't care who wins in Scotland. No one cared about Scotland, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But
it's like football, but it's not.
I watched the game expecting there to be a bit of feistiness and fieriness, and there was a bit of fieriness in the game. It's an Old Firm derby. I can't see either of them lasting to Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised to see him get a point today out of that game, especially after his 9-1 drubbing in the Champions League.
That was awful.
It was bad.
That is awful.
I know there was a little, I'll be honest with you, there's a little part of me that after that 6-0 loss, I thought he was going to go then. I'll be honest. I thought Rangers won't put up with it.
Even today, when they put in a better performance. So I think he swallowed his pride today, put players back in. I know you don't know a lot about Scottish football, but put players back in who he'd gone in and I'm going to drop the captain that's been the best player at the club for the last 8 years and done all that sort of stuff. He went over to applaud the Rangers fans and they booed him. They don't want him there. They just don't want him there.
No, well.
Sheffield United fans are going along the same thing, that they honestly do not understand how they've managed to get a manager who took Southampton down, because let's be honest, we got a good win. Cameron said there, we got a good win and it's fine at Chelsea, and he didn't really do anything else. I think he beat Leicester and that was it. He then kept Hull up with a huge budget on the last day of the season, but did okay at Reading for a little while. Or didn't really do okay.
Yeah, I just understand this fanning up nonsense. It's shocking. But I think Sellers will go first. But I was actually surprised Russell didn't go after the Champions League game. That being said, ex-managers, who cares? We are going to have to face Sellers at some point. Maybe, maybe not.
Probably not.
Who knows? And then something else I want to talk about, the wider football league, and I'm glad you put it in here because I wanted to talk about it anyway. We used to do a section, Jack, when we used to do the Premier League called VAR and Away for a while, which for the most part people said they enjoyed until they didn't because it got very repetitive. And it is repetitive. This is a whole new season.
Yes.
We're 3 games into the Premier League season.
Yes.
It's worse. They've made it worse. So there was a decision at Chelsea yesterday, and it on the surface at least, it looks like it's such a blatant and obvious Big Six club bias.
That is exactly what it is. If you are going to look for any sort of top 6 bias, you watched that game yesterday.
It was, and I'm sorry for a Chelsea fan. It was horrendous. That decision for that goal to be disallowed is what. If you haven't seen it, player takes ball, has control of ball, does nice turn with ball, but I think it's his standing foot stands on the other player's foot at the same time as he makes the turn.
As he's going away from him.
Play continues, eventually gets put in the back of the net. VAR comes all the way back to that turn, which is basically halfway line, there or thereabouts, and calls it a foul.
Which is interesting, because I'm going to jump in on this very quickly, because a lot of people might not have seen this today. But West Ham scored today. Jared Bowen scored the first goal for West Ham. Cracking finish. You haven't seen it, by the way. Go and see it. And as he scored it, Morgan's White came running over at the referee, complaining it had been a free kick, which was probably about 12, 13 seconds before the goal went in. And you could clearly see the referee say to him, it's too far back. But the free kick that was given for Chelsea yesterday was about 20 seconds before the goal went in.
And you know it's bad because they came out immediately afterwards and said, the officiator, we got that wrong.
But this is.
But what does that? How does that help Fulham?
It doesn't help Fulham. And not only did they get that wrong, Chelsea scored in the 9th minute of stoppage time in the end of the first half when there's supposed to be 8. And then they were given a penalty in the second half, which I don't get it. How much more did we have to take? How much more do these people generally trying to ruin the game? I'd rather have a shit referee and you get the atmosphere built up inside the stadium. The Celtic Rangers game today, that was the perfect use of VAR. Sutar scored a header, 30 seconds, boom, it's offside, crack on.
Well, there was Scott Parker was in the press yesterday, and he basically, long and short of it, he said, "Game's gone." It was what he said. He said, "You can't be excited about goal anymore. You can't." He said, "Football's the exciting part of football's going away," and he's right. If you get to see his interview yesterday, have a look at it, watch it. It's Scott Parker, and they talk about can you get excited? He's basically talking about you can't get excited about a goal. You can't, and he's right. And what he says resonates. Because it destroys the exciting thing that, for me, makes football the best sport in the world.
And it's I'm not sure, and I've been a big advocate of trying to do a lot for accountability of referees, but I'm also not necessarily sure I enjoy this idea of them announcing their decisions to the stadium the way that it kind of sounds cringy. After review, I have decided that
it's
such and such.
It's a half-assed attempt, right? It works in rugby, and it works well in rugby. It's not working in football.
But they shouldn't have, for me, and this is just my opinion on it, they shouldn't have the referee announcing his decision. You should be able to hear the entire dialogue.
Yeah, which you can't. You can if they choose to put it on the show that they sometimes do.
which they haven't done so far this season.
No, that was embarrassing. And I, you know, I think it was 2 or 3 seasons ago, it went to vote whether they keep or scrap VAR, and one club wanted to scrap it, and the other 19 wanted to keep it. It's a win more for me at the moment. It feels like a win more condition. It feels like if you're a big club who already have a significant advantage anyway in the league, because guess what? The way that things like PSA works, and the way that financial fair play works, basically goes, you earn more money, you get to spend more money, which means you get a better squad, which means you can earn more money, which means you get to spend more money. And sorry, all the low teams, tough. And then you end up bringing this in where you go, Fulham scored, we don't want that. Let's find a reason. It's horrendous. I'm really torn right now as a Saints fan, and I'd love to know what people would think. Stick this in the comment section after the show. This is the talking point I really want people. If you've made it as part of the show, this is the bit I really want you to talk about. I'm really torn. On the one hand, I want to see us really compete, and I'd love to see us win the league, right? Because your team's the best team in that particular league. That's what you want. And I also want to see us be able to compete in the highest league in the world and compete in the highest league in the world, not just come 17th, but be able to compete. But I just feel like that last part is arguably impossible. And I don't want to be in a league where you can't celebrate a goal because you have to wait for VAR and then, it is a goal. Way! But the actual limbs part's gone then. If you think about, for example, the winner against Wrexham and the limbs that happened, you wouldn't have that.
No.
And that's for me as a man in the concourse, not a man in the concourse, a man in the stands. That's the exciting part of football, and I think they're stripping the excitement away. And I think if you are a smaller club against a bigger club and VAR gets involved, most people nowadays are going, "Know what's going to happen there then?" And that's, if that happens, if that same goal was scored by Chelsea, does VAR disallow it?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And this is part of this shit where sport's gone down and we've gone sport. So my son today, for example, was obsessed watching the F1, and that's been one that's been obviously ruined in some degree by a lack of competitiveness and money, etc. But I don't. Obviously, I wasn't even watching the game. My dad made us aware. I went and watched it, and I watched it, and I saw the decision, and I thought, surely they've not disallowed the goal for that, and they did, and I just thought, oh my god,
absolute nightmare. There was also, I can't remember the game, there was also a challenge that went in and the player got a yellow card and it was a red.
Oh, that was in the Championship.
Was that Championship?
That was a Sheffield United player on a Middlesbrough player.
That's the one. Yeah, this is just bad officiating in general. That wasn't even, obviously that wasn't even VAR. That could have been a career-ending challenge. It's disgusting.
But someone's made the point to me, and I know we're going off a bit of a tangent here, but someone made the point to me the other day about referees nowadays and guys, whilst I'm doing it, hit the like button.
Do all the magical things. Maybe give some memberships
and hit the like button and subscribe and tell everyone about us. £200 we just chat. That's what we're going to do.
2 £100 super chats. Go.
So we started. Someone said about back in the olden days, and I'm going to use that phrase. I'm going to sound like our dad. These referees necessarily weren't as fit as they are now. So it was but the players weren't as fit. Are the players so fit nowadays, and the referees just aren't fit enough? There's so much going on in boxes, and there was a decision that was given at Sunderland yesterday for a penalty for pulling and hanging on. It was Fulham versus United last week, actually, where there was I think it was a goal disallowed or a penalty given for United about pulling. And then United scored, but they weren't picking up the player that was pulling behind. I thought, what's going on?
I would like to revert to my career-defining moment when I interviewed Matt Letizia over there on the sofa, and I will go back to what he said. And VAR needs ex-professionals involved.
100%.
Because it's evident at this point in time that the game is being officiated by people who don't understand the game.
But this is where our situation is going to become 10 times worse in 3, 4, 5 months' time when some of these referees have a couple of bad games, a couple of shockers, and they get bumped back down to the Championship. And I told you, I saw it last year where I think it was Sunderland against Burnley, that was it, and the referee gave a penalty or didn't give a penalty, and he basically turned around to his linesman and said, VAR will give it. And the players were like, the Championship, mate. And VAR, and he's a referee that's been relegated from the Premier League. And the linesman, it's been quite refreshing to see a bit of degree this year. The linesman, or assistant referee, sorry Steve if you're watching, give the offsides quick enough.
Linesman.
But
I'm enjoying the fact that decisions are decisions in the Championship at least. But, that yellow card for that tackle should have been a red. Anywho, I think if I go back to the show notes, that covers pretty much all of it. Now, tomorrow we have a bonus show at 8 p.m. where we're going to talk about the transfer window because it closes just before we go live tomorrow. So we'll be able to know everything that has happened. We can have a look at what we think the lineup's going to be, what we think our strong positions are, whether we think there's some areas we probably should have strengthened, etc., etc. That's tomorrow. And if there's any either major kind of movements in the Championship, we'll cover that as well. Next Sunday, however, or next weekend, I should say, there's no game, international break. 4 games into the season.
Ridiculous.
Anywho, there is an international break, so there is no game next week, but thankfully, the week after is a pretty important game in the Southampton Football Club calendar because we are at home at St Mary's hosting that rabble down the road, Portsmouth, and it is in fact a sellout as well. Surprise, shock, shooketh. But it is a sellout, right? Yes. So what we're going to do next week is we will do a show at 8 o'clock. And what we're going to do is we're going to preview the Portsmouth game. We don't normally do it, but we normally give about 5 minutes to the preview of the game. We're going to do a whole show about it, which is why we haven't covered it here. So we will be doing a show next week. We will be back at 8 o'clock. We're going to preview the Portsmouth game ready for the week after. Then obviously the week after that, we'll be back on that Sunday evening, either really happy or,
throwing things.
No, suddenly the show's been cancelled.
Oh no, me and Liam are in a prison cell,
Yeah, so there we go. So there's that. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I'm just wrapping up now because I want to go and watch me film. Anything else you want to say before we just anything you want to talk about?
No, I'll cover it all tomorrow. Cover it all tomorrow.
No, yeah.
No, it'll cover it all tomorrow, yeah.
You want to talk about that rash that you've got?
I got bitten by a mosquito the other day. That's really itchy.
No, not there.
Oh, that one.
Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on the Saints Network podcast. As always, please make sure you've smashed those buttons for us like we asked right at the start. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, etc. If you haven't already, share it around. We've been told during the show we have hit a mighty 950 subscribers on the channel, marching on to 1,000. We want to get to 1,000 subscribers. That'd be amazing. It basically means that when the video goes on demand, we can turn on ad revenue, which means we can make a little bit more from these shows. The live ones will still not have adverts though, because that's important to me. I hate adverts on live stuff, so that won't happen. If you've enjoyed the show and you haven't done it yet and you're watching on demand, or even if you're watching currently live and you think, actually, these guys are worth it, if you become a member, it costs you £5 a month to be a member. You get access to additional areas in Discord. We're going to be doing some more members-only giveaways in the future. And the support's really, really important. With the things we've done and the money we've spent to get to where we are now, we are running the podcast at a loss, but we are still enjoying it, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it too. We don't have a game next week to get excited about, but considering the transfer window closes tomorrow, it's still an important day for the club. So before we go, Ash, is there a message you'd like to give?
Up the Saints, because I'm losing my voice. Sorry.
That was
awful. You came to me at completely the wrong time.
That's
You complained to me at completely the wrong time.
That's not going to get players over the line tomorrow, is it?
No, it's not, but you came to me at the wrong time. Sorry.
Embarrassing, isn't it? Okay.
I was losing my throat then.
I don't feel like I'm even going to give you a second chance here.
That's fine, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, you guys are amazing. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.